The eastern region of India contributes significantly to the agriculture growth of the country. Despite suffering from several biophysical constraints and fragile agro-ecosystems. The eastern region of the project is spread across the states of Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya, Sikkim, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Odisha and Andaman and Nicobar. These states are prone to frequent dry spells, high-intensity storms and floods. The Indian Council of Agricultural Research (ICAR) launched the National Initiative on Climate Resilient Agriculture project in 2011. The ICAR project is jointly steered by the NRM and Extension Division of ICAR. The ICAR project is coordinated at the national level by the Central Research Institute for Dryland Agriculture, CRIDA. The technology demonstration component is being implemented across 121 districts spread across 28 states and 1 union territory, identified based on their vulnerability to different climatic stresses such as droughts, floods, cyclones, heat and cold wave. Climate resilient interventions are implemented in 4 major modules: Natural Resource Management (NRM), Crop Production, Livestock and Fisheries, and Institutional Interventions. In the eastern region, technology demonstrations were implemented through 45 Krishi Vigyan Kendras (KVKs) with the support of Agricultural Technology Application Research Institutes, Ataris at Barapani, Kolkata, Patna and State Agricultural Universities. Demonstration of technologies in the climatic vulnerable districts aim at reducing vulnerability, enhancing adaptive capacity and resilience of the farming communities. The eastern region is frequently affected by uneven distribution of rainfall and dry spells affecting the crop growth drastically. Frequent occurrence of floods is common in the states of Bihar and Assam. In situ conservation measures were demonstrated in hilly regions which conserved soil and moisture and significantly improved crop yields. Bunding helped in reducing soil erosion as well as runoff on undulated terrain and promoted good growth of crops. In high rainfall regions of northeast, mulching is demonstrated for reducing the impact of dry spells. Due to undulated topography and high rainfall, there is a large potential for harvesting runoff water using rainwater harvesting structures. Low-cost bori bandhans were constructed using sand or soil-filled gunny bags as temporary water storage structures. It facilitated the use of water from seasonal streams. By this intervention, significant area was brought under rabi crops. It enabled farmers to grow high-value crops for enhancing income. In hilly and high rainfall regions of northeast, low-cost structures known as jal kunds were demonstrated for rainwater harvesting and raising high-value crops like vegetables during lean season.
আমি খান 2010 para panila problem hua para আমি খান edu KVK nigra project para eneka jalgun digine olop solop pani to harvest kori kine bagan olop to help pai ase sabji ki halia laga aru ami khan akha ase aru bi eneka problem hoise gole KVK nigra project khan para aru ki sai kine modot koribo etu ami khan bosti manu to sob eneka bhabna de apni khan ke ase.
Supplemental irrigation from jalkunds helped to cope up with prolonged dry spells and critical growth stages of crops. Renovation of ponds enhanced water storage capacity and helped farmers to provide supplemental irrigation during Kharif and for increasing Rabi area in several Nikra villages. In frequently flood-affected regions, desilting of drains were taken up to reduce the impact of waterlogging. Pines enhanced resilience through reduction in flood duration and improvement in conveyance efficiency. Land shaping technology was demonstrated in Nimpith to reduce submergence of Kharif crops, to overcome salinity and to augment the availability of irrigation water during the Rabi and summer seasons. This technology acted as a model for reducing the vulnerability to flooding and for improving the cropping intensity. Also, crop diversification was achieved by adopting vegetable cultivation during Rabi and freshwater fish culture was introduced in the ponds. Resilient crop interventions were introduced in this region to stabilize productivity under variable climatic stresses. Short-duration drought-escaping crop varieties were demonstrated for delayed sowing and deficit rainfall. In eastern region, rice is the predominant crop. Short-duration varieties serve as best bet option as they provide a significant yield advantage in drought years over the traditional long-duration varieties. Community paddy nursery is one of the important contingency measures for delay in the onset of monsoon. Community nurseries were demonstrated in several drought-prone districts of Bihar and Jharkhand for delay in transplanting up to 2 weeks, 4 weeks and 6 weeks for delayed onset of monsoon conditions. Contingency crops were demonstrated for various rainfall situations. Sesame variety AST1 was upscaled in 50 hectare covering 80 farm households to compensate the loss due to paddy crop failure. Cultivation of flood-tolerant varieties of paddy enabled farmers to cope with flood situation and stabilize production. Flood-tolerant varieties such as Swarna Sub 1, Jal Kuwari and Jal Magna were demonstrated to minimize the loss in frequently flood-prone regions of Bihar and Assam. In Assam, short-duration paddy varieties for post-flood situation such as Lute and Ranjit were popularized to improve the productivity. Adoption of zero-till sowing resulted in early sowing of wheat in paddy fallows as well as under post-flood situations, which enabled the crop to escape the terminal heat stress. Cultivation of high-value vegetables in polyhouse was demonstrated to reduce the impact of high-intensity rains. This enabled increased availability of vegetables during off-season. Improved machinery was demonstrated for various field operations. Use of rotavator promoted through custom hiring center helped in efficient residue recycling and increased crop yield. Mushroom cultivation was promoted for additional income generation. In this region, livestock interventions are demonstrated for enhancing adaptation gains and imparting resilience. Breed upgradation enhanced the productivity of livestock and poultry in the region and increased the proportion of resilient stock at the village level. Farmers from Nikra villages adopted year-round fodder production systems with multi-cut and perennial fodder varieties to overcome the scarcity. This enhanced the availability of both green and dry fodder in Nikra villages.
एनपी चारा कृषि विज्ञान केंद्र बक्सर से लिया था और उसको अपने खेत में फसल का उत्पादन किया हूँ। यह फसल अभी 25 दिन का हुआ, जो यह फसल अभी पूरी विकास में है। अपना फसल अपने पशुओं के चारा के लिए उत्पादन किया था। यह सूखा की स्थिति के अनुसार हमारा यह फसल बहुत ही अच्छा है।
In Kirdum village, Ribhoi, Meghalaya, about 32 farmers adopted rearing birds of one Raj breed with low-cost housing. The practice reduced mortality, enhanced weight gain and egg production. The composite fish farming practice with major carps and exotic carps, which is Katla, Rohu, Mrigal, silver carp, grass carp and common carp, respectively in the ratio of 20:20, 15:20 and 10:15 using harvested rainwater gave an additional income to the farmers. Integrated duck and fish farming with low-cost duck shades using locally available materials have been adopted by the farmers after seeing its positive impact on income. To prevent fish escape and entry of predator fish during flood from the ponds, nylon net was promoted in flood-prone areas. In Bhongeri village of South 24 Parganas district, through land shaping treatment, monocrop paddy area has been converted to an integrated farming system model which enhanced resilience to the extremities of climate change. Animal sheds and poultry houses made with locally available materials provided better ventilation and also protected from heat stress during summer months. Raised platform with slatted floor prevented foot rot and contagious diseases in flood-prone areas. Recognizing the need for establishment of enabling support systems for participatory decision-making and wider adoption of climate-resilient agriculture practices and also build capacities at the local level, village climate risk management committees were formed. 10 to 20 villagers came together to share, support and encourage fellow farmers to adapt to the change in climatic conditions. Establishment of custom hiring centers is an innovative approach adopted under NICRA to make costly equipments affordable and accessible to small and marginal farmers and promote climate-resilient practices for resource conservation and timeliness of farm operations. CHCs are managed by farmers themselves and hiring charges are worked out by farmers group. Revenue from hiring is deposited in a bank account and used for repair and maintenance of machines. Power tiller, cono weeder, zero-till drill, paddy thresher, raised bed planter were the most popular implements in the region. A network of automatic weather stations enabled extension of climate services to farmers in the form of agro-advisories in unfolding weather situations. Small weather stations established in NICRA villages promoted climate awareness and literacy among crop and livestock farmers. Ensuring the right seed at the right time is important for enhancing resilience to climate risks. Farmer groups were encouraged to multiply seeds of varieties, particularly short duration, drought and flood tolerant varieties at the village level for self-reliance in seed at the local level for timely and affordable access. Women's groups came forward to establish and manage protected community vegetable nursery for supply of healthy seedlings in high rainfall areas and demonstrated the benefits of collective marketing for higher returns. Training programs on climate-resilient agriculture practices and technologies helped to create awareness on climate-related issues among farmers and all stakeholders. These programs contributed to knowledge empowerment, skill development, decision-making on investments in agriculture and coping ability of farmers. Increasing climate variability in hilly regions in Kachar, Dimapur, Ribhoi, West Tripura is adversely impacting farmers' income and livelihood. The NICRA project identified successful practices for climate resilience in agriculture in this complex, diverse and risk-prone environment. The project opened up opportunities for scaling up and scaling out of proven interventions in the region. NICRA villages have become hubs for learning on climate-resilient agriculture and paved the path for mainstreaming of climate-resilient practices through state action plans. Technology demonstrations have infused a sense of confidence among farmers to successfully combat climate variability. Despite recurrent drought-like conditions in these regions, climate-resilient interventions could bring back the smile on farmers' faces by contributing to their food and livelihood security. Based on the initial success, the NICRA project has expanded technology demonstrations for climate resilience in agriculture to 13 adjoining villages in addition to the existing NICRA villages in the region. The NICRA project will continue to endeavor to enhance the adaptive capacity of farmers and resilience of farming in the fragile eastern region.